Hello, everyone. We hope you've been enjoying everything you've been seeing today. Next up for our lightning talks, we have Golibe Ilechukwu, who's going to be talking about without tech, marketing fails for his lightning talk. Over to you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for that introduction. I really appreciate what you guys are doing with CBS Fest. CBF Fest. This has been amazing. Welcome to this session. Oh, I see different people. Welcome. Hello. So, very simply, I want us to talk about an interesting topic today, which is without tech, marketing fails. Without marketing, tech fails. That's an error in the write-up. So without marketing, tech fails. So very simply, I want us to think of this concept. We often celebrate the next big app. We often celebrate startups, AI tools, but we forget that for every success story, there is 100 failed products. Because tech most times, sometimes could be bad, and you taking this product to the eyes of the customers could be a huge problem. We always hear that 90% of tech startups fail, and the big question is why? Why do they fail? It is very simple. Most of the time, it is due to marketing issues, early consumer adoption, how bad is their marketing? What issues do they have when it comes to communicating their product to the problems of the customer? There is usually a disconnect here, and there are different instances from history. But I want us to understand that marketing is translation, because sometimes when we hear marketing, we think that it's a dubious word, like it is forcing down our products, down people's throats. But it is not. Tech oftentimes has complexities. I've been privileged to be in a very interesting position where I have a computer engineering degree and I have a master's degree in marketing. I've always been like this intersection between tech and marketing. I've always found ways to help take complex tech products, complex applications, AI tools, and help translate them to the audience, to the consumers. Take, for instance, someone like Steve Jobs. People like Wozniak, people who were in Apple, they always said that Steve Jobs didn't write a line of code. Jobs was a guy who everyone knew to be charismatic, who everyone knew to have built the greatest company ever, one of the greatest company that's ever come out of America. And you see that Jobs did this by being a marketing phenom and not by tech. Job did this by simply understanding what the consumers truly wanted and communicated this to the consumers. So it is not just about brilliant tech products. That is great. That is amazing. But how can we translate this? And this is what I want us to think about today. This is what this session is all about. I've had the opportunity to be able to create different startups and help different causes, promote different tech products across different continents. I've had the opportunity to speak in different continents, different tech products, different tech conferences. And one thing is continuous. A lot of founders, a lot of startups, they are so obsessed with their products, with the best code, but they never translate it to what the customer truly wants. The moment you can get the perfect product market fit, everything changes. That is the goal. How can I get a stunning product? Don't get me wrong, getting a stunning product is important. How can I get a good product, building the right product? But how can I also understand what my customer truly wants, what keeps her up at night, and create something to solve that problem? You reverse engineer it, you walk backwards. You don't create your product and start looking, oh, how can the market adopt it? This is the mistake a lot of techies make, a lot of founders make. You start with the problem, with the need, with what keeps her up at night, what keeps the customer up at night, and you create a product to solve that problem. Right? So the moment we understand this, everything changes. Google created Google Glasses, right? And it was very abnormal, uncomfortable. Nobody wanted to buy them because of lots of reasons. Some people will say because of the tech, maybe it was too big, too small, whatever. But the biggest complaints was from privacy issues. The biggest complaints were from the little things, the convenience of use. And it is always down to that. It is always down to what does the consumer truly want? So I want us to understand today that when we hear marketing, let's not think about those people that try to force products down our throats and market us supplements or whatever, right? Let's think of it as understanding how to translate the consumer's desires into products, understanding how to convert their emotions into products. And you see different brands like Tesla doing this. Tesla doesn't talk about cars. They speak to the futuristic part of you, that part of you that thinks about, oh, I want to own a part of the future. And when you want to own a part of the future, you buy Tesla. Boom. Now that sounds different. When Coca-Cola wants to sell sugar in a bottle, when Coca-Cola wants to sell sugar in a bottle, what do? They relate it to happiness. They relate it to sharing. They relate it to something bigger than what that product just is. So the moment we learn how to do this, we'll see that it will be easier for us to succeed. And I remember when I was applying for the global talent status here in the United Kingdom, I applied for it. And this was the basis I used to apply for this. And it was something that they really appreciated, right? Even when I discussed this with different colleagues, it was something that was appreciated. Understanding how to merge these two things together. Aside that, the companies that have been previewed to work with, companies like Boundless Pay and different other apps, what we're able to do is connect individuals to the product. Understand that nobody understands your tech jargon, right? Like I said, I studied computer engineering. I know all those jargon, even though I was never really great at it, right? So, but the marketing aspect is something that I have loved, and because it is something different, it is something exciting, it is understanding what people truly want and giving it to them. And another example is Apple. Apple doesn't sell processors. Apple sells a lifestyle. Apple sells creativity. You know, you ask yourself, what's the connection between consign laptop and think different? What's the connection between iPhone and Think Different, which is Apple's team, right? When Apple released the Think Different campaign, it changed the world, basically. And you see that think different is not the literal translation. It is not the literal meaning. It is understanding what the consumer wanted to hear at that moment and communicating this to them. I have a really short session and I'm not entirely used to it. So I'm trying to make this as simple as possible in a very little time. So marketing is basically what gives technology soul. Marketing is what gives technology soul. The moment we understand how to create campaigns that truly pierces into the consumer's feelings, into the consumer's pains, because what a lot of people don't understand, a lot of founders, a lot of techies, is you are creating a solution to a problem. Your product must be a solution to a problem. It is not just fugazi. It must emanate from someone's pain. So marketing helps bridge that gap. Okay, when you have created this product with all your tech jargon and your coding and your programming language, a full language that the consumer doesn't speak, then this is what connects it, right? So this is something I want us to understand. And even in the Black community as a whole, thousands of startups die every single year. We know this story. They say about 90% of startups fail. Marketing helps build trust, and marketing helps make your product stand out. If we can learn to bridge this gap, everything changes. If we can learn to build trust, if we can learn to communicate to the deep-seated desires of the consumer, I believe we'll create better products. And I believe that we're going to push the world into a newer phase, right? So technology creates possibilities. Marketing creates adoption. Without adoption, even the best technology fails. This is something I want us to understand. So innovation might start in the lab. Innovation might start with the coding and all that, but it only leaves when marketing takes it to the world. It only gets into the world when marketing gets involved. So this is something I want us to deliberate on. This is something I want us to work on. Let's start looking at the consumer. Let's start looking at the need and work from there to creating our product. Without marketing, tech fails. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's been great to have you. And the next talks will be on the other stages. So I would recommend to all of you, you can head over to. Actually, I think there's a bit of a break coming up. You've got a bit of a break for marketing, for networking, marketing, because we've just been talking about marketing, for networking, and also then we'll have a bit of a break before we continue around 6 o'clock. But I hope you're all having a fantastic time, and thank you, Golibe, for your awesome talk as well. See you all soon. Bye.